Don't miss the Green and Growing Show in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Eagle TV. Ellis County Horticulture Agent Holly Dickman will identify common lawn and garden issues while providing up-to-date information. Watch weekdays in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Channel 14 or 614. Green and Growing, brought to you by Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40, and Eagle TV.
With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.
Well, you know it's springtime when you start seeing these little purple flowers around town, and I oftentimes get questions about this weed. This is a weed called Henbit. If you're trying to figure out if that's exactly what you have, one of the easiest things to do is take a stem and kind of roll it in between your fingers. It does have a square stem, and so that's a really easy way to determine if that really is Henbit that you have in your yard. This is a weed that actually comes up in the fall. It's a winter annual, so it actually germinated and started growing in the fall, but nobody notices it at that time because it's really tiny. It's only when we get into spring, things start warming up and that weed starts to take off and grow that people start wondering, well, what is that in my yard? It's more prevalent in some of these warm season lawns like buffalo or Bermuda grass, but you'll see it just about anywhere. Flower beds, gardens, anywhere you have some soil, there can be henbit growing. And one of the things about this weed is that I don't get a lot of phone calls about it until we start seeing those purple flowers, because that's when it really stands out and that's when everyone starts to really take notice of that weed. Unfortunately, when you do start to notice this purple flower, there really is not much you can do about it. Like I said, this is a weed that actually comes up in the fall, starts to grow in the fall, and so fall is actually the best time to control it. If you have a warm season grass, you can wait until things go dormant in the fall, and you can use a broadleaf weed killer like Trimec or Weed Be Gone or Weed Free Zone or any of those on the market. There's tons to choose from, but that's going to be your best bet in controlling this weed. If you've now come to this part of the year and you're wondering, well, what in the world can I do about it now? Unfortunately, there's not a lot that can be done. You can try some of the broadleaf weed killers on the market, like those that I mentioned, Trimec, some of those. However, it's most likely not going to kill it. It might burn it back, it might make it look bad, but it's not going to kill it. Now, the thing to remember about this weed also is that since it is a winter annual weed, it does not like hot weather. And so as soon as it gets hot, this weed's life cycle is over with and it's done. It'll die and you won't notice it anymore. So at this point, with things flowering across the yard, my advice would be just either hand pull, which wouldn't be practical in a yard like this, but either hand pull it or just let it go until things really start to warm up and it dies on its own. And just remember that next fall now, you're probably going to have an issue with henbit again. And so you want to make sure and spray either in the fall or even in the winter months when that grass is completely dormant and you can go out and do some spraying on those at that time. Other weeds in the lawn that we're seeing right now as far as cool season weeds, there's a lot of cheatgrass. That little barley that I talk about every year is becoming noticeable. A lot of times it blends in with your grass, and so you don't really notice it until it gets that seed head. But those are also weeds that actually germinate in the fall and then come up in the spring, or are more noticeable, I should say, in the spring. Now, if you have things like dandelions, like we're seeing here, that too is another weed that's best treated in the fall, but you can go ahead and maybe spot spray with a broadleaf weed killer and get some good control on the dandelions still at this time of year. If you have questions about lawn care or weeds and how to control them in your landscape, contact your local extension office for more information. Reporting for K-State Research and Extension and Eagle TV, I'm Holly Dickman, Ellis County Horticulture Extension Agent.
Don't miss the Green and Growing Show in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Eagle TV. Ellis County Horticulture Agent Holly Dickman will identify common lawn and garden issues while providing up-to-date information. Watch weekdays in the noon to 9 p.m. hours on Channel 14 or 614. Green and Growing, brought to you by Riedel's Garden Center, a full-service garden center west of Hayes on Highway 40, and Eagle TV.
With our current weather conditions, it takes a real expert to create landscape that'll thrive. Riedel's Garden Center has the staff with the expertise of water requirements for plants, lawns, and landscapes that'll stand up to our changing weather conditions. With 25 years of hands-on experience, owner Darren Riedel will customize a landscape design and irrigation system to meet your expectations and our climate. It's recommended to protect your lawn using Fertilome products available at Riedel's Garden Center, an authorized dealer. Call or stop by Riedel's Garden Center today.